Hey guys, welcome back. So in the last video I said a bit of a surprise for you guys, and it's been something I've wanted for a while, and I finally had an opportunity to pull the trigger on this and get this. I have big plans ahead. I'm excited about working on it and where I plan on taking this. So that's going to be an adventure you guys will be a part of, going on that whole road. And I know I still have work to go in here, but I'm super excited about this. So anyway, let's cut the chit chat, let's get to it. Here it is. Alright, so this is it. This is my 2001 C5 Corvette. I've always wanted one since I can remember, really, since being a kid. And I got it almost a year ago. The reason I got it is just such a fun car. I've driven one of them previously, and I had the opportunity to get one, and of course I did it. So, why did I get one? I have another car. Nice car at that, but I got this because besides it being fun, I needed something that I could have fun with, still enjoy, and not be worried about getting the CUDA done and put it back together for me to have to go to work on Monday. Now, that doesn't mean I'm delaying doing stuff on that car. It just means I don't have crunch mode every time I need to go to work. So, that's why I got this car. So why the C5? Why? Out of all the other cars that are out there, why this one? Manual, rear-wheel drive, great weight distribution. So I got this because it's a utility knife of the car world, in my opinion. It's so good at just everything. People make these in the drift cars really easily. Put a wide angle steering kit on there, hydraulic brake, and you're done. For just an easy ripper for you to get into something, what a good way to get into drifting. Now, it's more expensive than some other cars, like a 350 or Miatas are getting pretty expensive now compared to what they used to be. But it's such a right out of the box, you don't have to do any power mods or anything to it, just steering angle kit, hydraulic brake, good for drifting. And plenty of people have done that recipe. Out of the box track car, some suspension mods, some tires. That recipe's been done plenty of times before, and a lot of people take them to events like Grid Life or NASA, or they race them in Spec Series. Spec Series is huge for the Corvettes. So people do Grid Life in those events, those track events with it. Autocross, especially for those people who aren't really near tracks where they can get out and go to. Autocross is kind of everywhere. People make these in the drag cars as well. There's plenty of them that you can go and find at a track. People ripping these up and down. Off-road, people have put crazy tires on these things and ripped them around. Karts, that became hugely popular, making karts out of C5s. It started, from what I remember, the first person I could see really doing it was Dave Freiberger and Mike Finnegan when they made a vet kart on, I believe it was Roadkill. And then notoriously today, C5 vet kart Leroy. And that's an absolute animal in the drag racing world and, kart. So a lot of utility that people get from C5s. So it can do a little bit of everything. And, that draws my attention to that. If I want to go do one thing, I can easily pivot and go do another. So what are my plans with the C5? Right now, I'm not doing anything to it. I'm enjoying it the way it is. It already has an intake and exhaust on it. And I'm letting it be that. I'm enjoying that for now while I keep working on the CUDA. But I would love to take this to the track and start making this a track car. That's my overall goal. I still have a ways to go before I can really go ahead and do that. But that's the plan for this. Now, C5s, there are plenty out there. Now, it's getting a little bit more iffy on finding ones that are worth picking up. Looking at Marketplace, there was tons of autos and tons that had crazy mileage. This one I got at 110,000 miles, which is nothing crazy compared to the stuff that's out there today. And I paid for this exactly the price for when I was looking at one about similar mileage. I think that one had more mileage when I looked at it about 10 years ago. So the value on these things retain. Now, out of all the Corvettes that are out there, why C5? Why this one? So, my opinion, Corvettes have had a couple periods where they've looked really good. C2, iconic. I love the way that looks. Nothing else really did it for me until C5. And since then, they've been okay. C6 looked good, C7 looked okay, C8 looks great. But that's a totally different reimagining of the whole entire idea of what a Corvette is, shifting away from the front engine. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's amazing. But the C5 almost never happened, and I'm really glad it did. They really worked to get the framing, the rigidity, make it lightweight, focused on the weight distribution, the transaxle. And if you remember previously, the C4 was kind of boxy, and this really showed off the curves of the car. And I love it. And it's the last generation pop-up headlights. In my opinion, these pop-up headlights really add to the aesthetic of the car. It gives it a clean look, obviously when the lights are off. And when you need them, you just turn them on. But we're never going to get pop-up headlights again in any car. So what's the deal with the car? What's the review? What's the good, the bad, the ugly of this car? Well, after having it for almost a year now, I figured out what I really like and where some things I wish were a little bit different with this car. So to start off, it's extremely fun to drive. The manual, you have the LS. It's easy just to put your foot down, and it handles curves in the road unbelievably well. So that's good. I really like the diagnostics right in the dash. So for me, just press a couple buttons and it's seeing if the car's popping any codes. It's great. Speaking of that, leads to bad. These C5s were pretty notorious. It was guaranteed not if it would happen, but when it would happen. Of the ABS modules going bad. Now, before getting the car, I actually researched that. And so I got a 2001. So prior to 2001, couldn't fix them. Oh well, they don't make them anymore. It's $1,000-something bucks to get something new to replace it. And you hope that's going to work long enough before it eventually dies. So I got a 2001, which is repairable, which I will be doing soon. So that's one of the things that kind of, it's like, alright, we'll deal with it. Some other type of weird electrical things that kind of go wrong with the car. Grounds typically go bad. I went through and made all the grounds good. I didn't have any issues with it. It was a precautionary measure that I took care of. The little display for the AC, that also has a little circuit board thing that kind of goes bad. It's kind of little odds and ends here and there. I'm not going to get real too nitpicky. I mean, the car is almost 25 years old. I've had zero issues with the car. They have the ABS module. Alright. But I got the thing, I can fix it. There's been, besides just basic maintenance, oil changes, and it changed the brake pads. It does everything fine. I know when I get out and I want to go rip on this car, it's going to do exactly what I want it to do. It's going to go where I want it to go. It's a very predictable car. Now, a hidden gem, I would say, is how useful this car kind of is. It's got more trunk space, I would dare say, than most cars. I love the hatch. It's huge. And there's compartments inside of there where if I want to put whatever I need to in there, I can. Yeah, it's got 2 seats. Oh well, it's a sports car. It's supposed to be having fun. And how often are you really driving more than you and maybe one other person anywhere? 9 times out of 10, when I'm going somewhere, it's just by myself to go do something. I'm rarely packing everybody in and saying, alright, we're going on a road trip. No. So, after the good and the bad, that's generally just with this car, I absolutely have loved owning this car. And I'll continue to do so. I've held myself off from doing anything to the car besides basic maintenance, as I think I said before, but I would look forward to immensely really diving in and getting this car up to where I want it to be and taking it out on track. So hopefully this upcoming spring and summer, I'll be able to go do some track days. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy doing this.